So on your graphing review, how am I going to start number 1?
X and Y.
Yes, you're going to make a chart. There is enough space to make the chart on the graph. You might have to do your work on another sheet of paper, or if you're getting good at this, you could just do it in the calculator, but you didn't hear that from me. But I do need to see the table. So if you do your other work on a separate sheet of paper, make sure your table's on this one so I can see right by the graph exactly what you're graphing. Okay? I am plugging in 0, 1, and 2. Remember, you get to pick the x's. So if you don't particularly like 0, 1, and 2, you can pick any 3 numbers you want. Okay? I would pick something between -6 and +6, though, today, so that it fits on this graph. But what we are doing for my examples is 0, 1, and 2. So I'm going to take x out. I'm going to put a 0 in. Then I'm going to take x out again and put a 1 in. Then I'm going to take x out again and put a 2 in. Those will give me my y values. So I'll have 3 times 0 minus 4. I'll have 3 times 1 minus 4. And I will have 3 times 2 minus 4. 3 times 0 is 0, and 0 minus 4 is -4. 3 times 1 is 3, minus 4 is -1. And 3 times 2 is 6, and 6 minus 4 is 2. I'm going to graph these 3 points, so side to side 0, down 4, right 1, down 1, and right 2, up 2. If it forms a line, you're probably in pretty good shape. If it doesn't form a line, you made some sort of algebra mistakes. Double check using your calculator or just do the math in your head and see where you went wrong. Remember, you need to connect the lines and put arrows on the ends. Remember, this graph shows all the ordered pairs that would make this true. So we want to show that, you can plug numbers in past 2. You can plug numbers in smaller than 0. That's what the arrows represent. So I'm going to give you the rest of class. Well, not the rest of class, because I want to make sure we have time to do some of these together on the board. I'm going to give you maybe about 20 minutes. So get as far as you can in 20 minutes. Then we're going to start doing some on the board, especially the hard ones, the fraction ones. I want to make sure we get to those on the board. And then anything that we don't get to, you'll just have to do for homework tonight. Any questions? So take a look at number 2. How do I start? The answer to how do I start is always exactly the same. Yeah, you make an X and Y chart or a T chart and you plug in 0, 1, and 2. So I need to do y equals -4 times 0 plus 1. I need to do y equals -4 times 1 plus 1. And y equals -4 times 2 plus 1. Alright, -4 times 0 plus 1 is 1. -4 times 1 is -3, and then plus 1 is -2. And -4 times, wait, no, that's not right. -3, right? -4 times 2 is -8, and -8 plus 1 is -7. When I graph the first point, I go side to side 0, I go up 1. For the second one, I go right 1, down 3. And for the last one, I go right 2, down 7. Connect those. Arrows on the end. What are your questions? All right, so if you're working on something else, glance back, double check that that's what you have. If not, we need to talk about it. All right, we'll keep on moving. We did one like number 3 yesterday. I don't remember if it was in the notes or the homework, but I remember doing one like number 3, but let's take a look at it again. Remember, that's like multiplying by a -1. So we're plugging in 0, 1, 2. So what you're actually doing is -1 times 0, -1 times 1, and negative 1 times 2. Multiplying by a negative 1 just changes your sign. So my y's are actually the same as the x's, just the sign is different. So 0, 0, 1, negative 1, 2, negative 2. Connect them. Arrows on the ends. Questions on that one? All right, here's number 4. Again, we always start the same way. We're plugging in 0, 1, 2. So we need to do negative 2 times 0 plus 2. Negative 2 times 1 plus 2. And negative 2 times 2 plus 2. Negative 2 times 0 is 0, and 0 plus 2 is 2. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2, plus 2 is 0. And negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. When you add 2 to that, you get negative 2. So 0, 2. So side to side 0, up 2. Right 1, stay right there. Right 2, down 2. Connect those. Arrows on the end. Good to go. Questions on 3 or 4? 3 or 4? Good. All right, jump down to number 5. Again, we're going to start out with the good old T-chart or XY chart, whatever you feel like calling it. Here's our X, here's our Y. We're going to plug in 0, 1, and 2. So what I'm going to do is 3 times 0 minus 1, 3 times 1 minus 1, 3 times 2 minus 1. 3 times 0 is 0, and 0 minus 1 is negative 1. 3 times 1 is 3, and 3 minus 1 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6, and 6 minus 1 is 5. Now I need to graph those, so left and right 0, down 1. Right 1, up 2. And right 2, up 5. Connect those. Arrows on the end. And we're good. All right, number 6, we have X and Y. 0, 1, 2. This is negative 2 times 0 plus 4. Negative 2 times 1 plus 4. And negative 2 times 2 plus 4. Negative 2 times 0, of course, is 0. 0 plus 4 is 4. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2, and plus 4 is 2. And the last one, negative 2 times 2 is negative 4, plus 4 is 0. Number 6, I go left and right. 0, I go up 4. I go right 1, up 2. I go right 2, don't go up and down at all. All right, go ahead and connect those. Arrows on the end. And we're good on the front. What are your questions on the front? Any of them on the front? Speak now or take it home for homework. So, number 7. The big difference here is that there's a fraction. I don't want to graph fractions. I'm just going to try to avoid it. The cool thing about these tables, remember, I keep saying it, you get to pick the x's. You can pick x's that get rid of the fraction for you. Okay, so try to think of numbers that when you multiply it by a half, you'd get a whole number. The way that works is if you use only even numbers. So instead of plugging in 0, 1, 2, this time I'm going to plug in 0, 2, 4. The whole reason I'm doing this is so that I don't have to graph fractions. Now, if you already did this one and you did 0, 1, 2, do not change your work. I'm going to show you something cool when we get done. Okay? I'm going to do 0, 2, 4 just because I don't like fractions. Okay? So, do you guys remember that ABC button on your calculator? This is when you would use it. 1 ABC 2 times 0 minus 4. Very good. You get a negative 4. We're going to do 1 ABC 2 times 2 minus 4. Negative 3. And 1 ABC 2 times 4 minus 4. Negative 2. Now I'm going to graph those three ordered pairs. So I'm going to go left or right 0. I'm going to go down 4. This time I have to go right 2, down 3, and then right 4, down 2. Now I'm going to connect those. Now, I said I was going to show you something cool if you already did this. If you already did it and you plugged in 1 for your x, your y would be negative 3.5. Where is negative 3.5 on our graph? Is it on the line? Yes, it is on the line. So even if you graphed the halves or if you plugged in different x values than I did, you should still be on the line. Your line should still look the same. You just have different points. That's completely fine. The important part is that our lines look the same. Remember, all solutions are on here, even the fractions. That's why these graphs are so cool. What are your questions? All right, number 8 was easy, so we'll go through this one pretty quickly. For number 8, you are just multiplying your x's by 3. So we can go back to the old 0, 1, 2. 0 times 3 is 0. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. So 0, 0, 1, 3, 2, 6. Put arrows on the end. And we're good. What are your questions? Anyone need more time with these two? Okay, number 9, again, we have a fraction. I don't want to graph fractions. I'm just not feeling it today. So I'm going to pick certain x values so that I don't have to graph those fractions. The trick that I'm going to use is to only plug in even numbers. So I'm plugging in 0, 2, and 4 this time. So I need to do 1/2 times 0 plus 3. Then I need to do 1/2 times 1 plus 3. Then I need to do 1/2. Whoa, back it up. I'm not using 1. What am I using? 2. Then I'm going to do 1/2 times 4 plus 3. Remember, if you already did this with 0, 1, 2, you're fine. You're just going to have to graph a fraction that we're not going to graph. But we'll get the same line as long as you did the math right. So 1/2 times 0 is 0, and plus 3 is 3. 1/2 times 2 is 1, plus 3 is 4. 1/2 times 4 is 2, and 2 plus 3 is 5. When I graph these, I go side to side, 0 up 3. This time I have to go right 2 up 4, and then right 4 up 5. So again, if you did this and you have fractions, you will end up somewhere on that same line. You'll just have different points. We should be good. Questions on that one? All right, I'm just going to keep going. Hopefully we don't have homework. It is Friday. All right, I'm going to plug in 0, 1, and 2 on number 10. Regular old problem. Remember, negative x is like negative 1 times x. So I'm going to multiply negative 1 by 0. Then I'm going to multiply negative 1 by 1. Then I'm going to multiply negative 1 by 2. And each time I'm adding 3 afterwards. Negative 1 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 3 is 3. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Plus 3 is 2. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. Plus 3 is 1. To graph those, I go left and right 0. I go up 3. Right 1, up 2. Right 2, up 1. Connect them with with a line. Arrows on the ends. Raise your hand if you have questions. We have another fraction. I'm going to let you in on my little secret to get rid of fractions. If it's 1/2, you just multiply by even numbers. So I'm going to plug in 0, 2, and 4. 0, 1, 2 would work. You're just going to have to graph half points. I don't like doing that. I'm going to get rid of them. Okay, so y equals 1/2 times 0 plus 1. Y equals 1/2 times 2 plus 1. Y equals 1/2 times 4 plus 1. 1/2 times 0 is 0, and 0 plus 1 is 1. 1/2 times 2 is 1, and 1 plus 1 is 2. 1/2 times 4 is 2, and 2 plus 1 is 3. Side to side 0 up 1, right 2 up 2, right 4 up 3. Connect it with a line. Arrows on the end. Good to go. All right, here's the $1 million question. When there was a 2 on the bottom, I was only putting even numbers. When there's a 3 on the bottom, any idea what I should plug in? What? What kind of odd? Some are odd, some are even. 0 always works. Old reliable. Yeah, I'm going to plug in a 3 and then someone whispered it. Colin. 6. If you plug in only numbers that 3 goes into, that'll get rid of the 1/3. Again, if you didn't know that trick and you did 0, 1, 2, you should be fine. You'll just graph a lot of little fractions that we won't, okay? So, very quickly, I need to do negative 1/3 times 0 plus 4, negative 1/3 times 3 plus 4, and negative 1/3 times 6 plus 4. Negative 1/3 times 0 is 0, plus 4 is 4. Negative 1/3 times 3 is negative 1, plus 4 is 3. And negative 1/3 times 6 is negative 2, plus 4 is 2. I need to graph 0, 4, 3, 3, 6, 2, arrows on the ends, and I'm good to go. Before you leave class, I need to see that you did this worksheet. If you are missing a graph, you are finishing it for homework. Any questions?